want this to end, especially this particular case, the New York case, which was always seen as weaker than other ones. And it looks like, Jack Smith, it's just going to go away. Trump could pardon himself anyway if he ever got a conviction for that. It wouldn't happen before he took office. In Georgia, he couldn't self-pardon, but that's also going to be delayed. And what are you going to do? You're going to start trying him at 82, 83 years old when he finishes his term. That's not going to happen. But what I do think is important to consider in all of this is that just because he won the election didn't mean that he didn't do the crimes that he is accused of and that grand juries heard evidence of and voted a certain way. And people who are trying to make this out like 75 million people showed up and said, I'm here because Donald Trump is an innocent man. That's not what it was. They wanted his economic policies. They thought he would be better for the country. And unfortunately, Kamala Harris.
The lawfare coming after your political opponent, it was all meant for him to lose. The bad man, the evil man, the dictator. Let's make him a convicted felon so we can stay in power. Jessica. Witch hunt, a complete sham. Bananas out in the middle of the street, kangaroos jumping at the intersection. We don't do that here. Y'all couldn't beat them fair and square. We know what this was, Jessica. We know, everybody knows what this was. Even people that hate Trump, never Trumpers, anti-Trumpers, they knew what it was. And some of them were just going along with it and agreeing because they didn't want him to win. So they wanted that convicted felon. They wanted that narrative to be out. And guess what it did? It backfired. You made him more popular. You made it more easier for President Trump. And I want to tell y'all one thing. God ain't done. God ain't done. We ain't done, y'all. And that's why it was a landslide. That's why it was too big to rig. Shams, complete shams. And wasted everybody's time, energy, but it all happened for a reason. This was all meant to happen for a reason. And I told you guys this.
Just couldn't get as many votes in the states that she needed it to win this. But it doesn't make him not guilty just because he won the election.
Democrats wanted the lawfare issues to be the thing that sunk Trump so that they didn't have to run against the policies.
Yeah, so just keep going with this. It really worked out well for you.
Right.
You wonder if he lost, would they still be doing it? No, they got rid of him. This whole thing was to get rid of him. I feel like we're arguing about the recent World Series. We already know who won. This is a story, I believe, for the dying media.
Facts.
No one outside legacy media is covering this story. This is like a rage pillow to keep the people that are so distraught in various newsrooms occupied while everyone else, their lives move on. You know what this is? It's like when the Super Bowl's over and this case is the XFL.
Jessica. But it's okay. He's the 47th president of the United States. Shout out to them beautiful patriots around the world, my brothers and sisters. One love to the human race. We rocking and rolling. No matter how this thing goes, no matter what is said, no matter how deranged, delusional you still are, we winning. Them patriots winning. America, baby. It's time to put America first. No more laughing. No more weak leaders. No more crapping our pants. No more falling off the stage, walking off the stage. Don't know where we're at. Falling downstairs. Falling off bicycles. Dropping our ice cream cone on the floor. Slushy in the floor. No more sitting out on the beach. Out cold. Stomach out at the beach. No more cheap fake, a deep fake.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dana Perino, along with Judge Janine Pirro, Jessica Tarlov, Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. Well, 75 million people have spoken loud and clear against the lawfare on Trump, but some Democrats still aren't ready to drop their dream of seeing their chief opponent in jail. New York Judge Juan Merchan has decided to delay his ruling on whether or not to toss President-elect Trump's felony fraud conviction, postponing a decision on the matter until next Tuesday. Andy McCarthy's blasting the judge for taking the easy way out.
So he's not a guy who easily admits that he was wrong. It seems to me that this ruling allows him to continue that record. Basically, he doesn't have to deal with Trump's claims of error. He
needs to be disbarred, man. Disbarred. Investigated. I mean, the daughter too. Where's that daughter at? Hands behind your back to the daughter as well too. These people are a disgrace, man. Sham. A complete sham. Wasted everybody's time, but we want to thank y'all. We want to thank you. Because y'all walked him back in there easily. You made it more easy for the president to walk back in there. We want to thank you, Big Fanny. What Kamala say? We want to thank you. We want to thank you. Thank you. We want to thank a corrupter. A fraud for these frauds. We want to thank you, frauds. Thank you. We want to thank these judges and DAs. Big Letitia James, Alvin Bragg. We want to thank ya. People need to be investigated, man. These people need to be stripped from everything, man. Frauds. It's a complete witch hunt. You couldn't beat them fair and square. And y'all made him more popular than ever. We want to thank you. And God ain't done yet. All glory to the kingdom. He ain't done yet.
Have to deal with the immunity issue. He gets to basically not admit error, and everybody gets to carry on.
And while Merchan weighs what he's going to do, New York Attorney General Tish James, who built her entire political campaign on vowing to take on Donald Trump, is doubling down on her efforts to be a thorn in the side of the president-elect.
We have been working both in my office and with other Democratic AGs across this country to make sure that we would be ready to respond to any attempt to roll back our rights.
All we can say is good luck.
Created contingency plans. So no matter what the next administration throws at us, we're ready.
Good luck, because I tell you, they not around. You might as well go get you a drink. Some of that Grey Goose with Big Fanny. And y'all call up Nancy Pelosi, because she's shaking out her flip-flops too. Y'all about to get it together. And start making some rearrangements. Because they not effing around, Big Tish.
We're ready to respond to their attacks.
Judge, we pulled you out of court today from the Daniel Penny case because this was all breaking during the show, and you didn't even have a chance to read it. And now you're covering 3 different legal stories today. Let me give you a chance to tell us what you think of this now.
Well, you know, Judge Merchan has delayed the sentencing twice. He's in a tough situation because the case that he tried is one that is loaded with reversible error. I mean, if they take the Supreme Court's decision that came down a month later into consideration, so much of this trial hedged on what happened in the Oval Office with Madeleine Westerhout and Hope Hicks while he was president, that even the prosecution said in their closing statement that that particular evidence was utterly devastating and crucially necessary to the conviction. This is what the prosecution said, that kind of testimony that occurred from the Oval Office. So that's almost an admission that there is reversible error in this thing. So now what you have is both the prosecution and defense, they're both looking to adjourn. So the prosecution has to balance the competing interest of the state, and then you've got the presidency. And the defense wants to throw out the case and avoid, all of the conviction attributable to a president. But Andy McCarthy said something interesting today that I haven't heard anyone say. And that is that the president, Donald Trump, president-elect, is not yet convicted. And I said this a few months ago when somebody laughed at me and said, nobody cares about that. You're not technically convicted until you're sentenced. So if this thing is reversed and thrown out on a 330 motion to vacate by Judge Merchant, then that's the end of it. He's free. Or you let it go on appeal. But when is the appeal? He's going to be in the Oval Office. Right. So this thing is like just hanging for the next 4 years. And I think that what the president would prefer is an out-and-out ruling by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, like why, Jesse, hold it over his head? It does, to me, feel like a little bit of an easy way out that you didn't have to make a decision.
They're looking for an off-ramp if they're good people. I don't know if they're good people, but he has the immunity ruling and he has the fact that you can't go after a sitting president. So it's right there for him to just knock this thing down and do the right thing. Will he do it? I have no idea if he'll do it or not. I know Bragg is probably trying to save face, but he could just be as malicious. I don't know. I know Tish James doesn't seem to be as conducting an offensive campaign against Trump. She looks to be more defensive. She might be worried about maybe the Department of Justice or the House Republicans investigating her, maybe bringing her in to testify, maybe hitting her with prosecutorial misconduct, malicious prosecution, wondering what she was doing, if she was colluding with the Biden Justice Department. That's something that the White House and the Department of Justice and the House Republicans, they're going to have to decide if they want to go there. And they could if they want. That's not revenge, Jessica. That's accountability. Now, it's weaponization. Don't you dare. She's also probably going to be suing the Trump administration over illegals and the environment. They all are going to do that. But Trump's in a different position now because he's going to control all this money. And he had a phone call with Hochul the other day, and he wants to make New York City as beautiful as it should be. It's the crown jewel. So if he wants to flood this city with projects, infrastructure, trillions of dollars, which we need, look around, and you have this stupid woman suing the pants off of him over nothing, then he can say, wait a second, why are we giving you all this money if you guys are suing me over BS? And the power brokers in New York who control Tish James's political career going forward, they could say, lady, knock it off. We have bigger fish to fry.
Jessica, better for Democrats to have a clean slate and move on or keep this going?
There's definitely a large faction of Democrats that just want this to end, especially this particular case, the New York case, which was always seen as weaker than other ones. And it looks like, Jack Smith, it's just going to go away. Trump could pardon himself anyway if he ever got a conviction for that. It wouldn't happen before he took office. In Georgia, he couldn't self-pardon, but that's also going to be delayed. And what are you going to do? You're going to start trying him at 82, 83 years old when he finishes his term. That's not going to happen. But what I do think is important to consider in all of this is that just because he won the election didn't mean that he didn't do the crimes that he is accused of and that grand juries heard evidence of and voted a certain way. And people who are trying to make this out like 75 million people showed up and said, I'm here because Donald Trump is an innocent man. That's not what it was. They wanted his economic policies. They thought he would be better for the country. And unfortunately, Kamala Harris couldn't get as many votes in the states that she needed it to win this, but it doesn't make him not guilty just because he won the election.
Democrats wanted the lawfare.
I can see the comments now. Yeah. And it's sad that we even have to, that this even took place to begin with, man. What was the crime? And that's what we've been asking the same thing for this entire year. We've done hundreds of videos on this crap, man. What crime was committed? It's been a witch hunt coming after their political opponent. They couldn't beat them fair and square. Sham. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. They need to be investigated. There needs to be people, just removed. Disbarment.
Issues to be the thing that sunk Trump so that they didn't have to run against the policies.
Yeah, so just keep going with this. It really worked out well for you.
Right.
You wonder if he lost, would they still be doing it? No, they got rid of him. This whole thing was to get rid of him. You know, I feel like we're arguing about the recent World Series. We already know who won. This is a story, I believe, for the dying media. No one outside legacy media is covering this story.
Spot on, Greg.
This is like a rage pillow to keep the people that are so distraught in various newsrooms occupied while everyone else, their lives move on. You know what this is? It's like when the Super Bowl's over and this case is the XFL. You know, people who, so I just still need to watch some football. You know, viewers are leaving MSNBC like it's a Diddy party at 5 a.m. You know, their profits are cratering. This is methadone. They're hoping it's methadone for viewers who have run out of the Trump-hating heroin. Look at the networks right now. Look at their viewers. Women are shaving their heads. We got to do something, you know, before Hillary buys a set of clippers, because I don't want to see a bald Hillary. I don't want to. The problem with legacy media is this. There is no DNR. There's no do not resuscitate notice. So they keep resuscitating the media with these stories. They go like, well, you know what? CNN is MSNBC. Maybe this story will get some people back. Tish James, she's like an ex that turns into a stalker. Doesn't she have any other work to do in New York? Her job is to serve the public interest of all New Yorkers. That means, you know, enforcing laws that protect consumers and tenants and workers and patients. You know, she's like a firefighter. Instead of going out and answering calls to blazes, just goes to the home of her ex and sprays an extinguisher in his car every single night. It's not healthy. These are not healthy people. We shouldn't have to pay for the opportunity costs of Tish James not doing her actual job.
Right. And we'll go to the next block right after this quick commercial break. And it kind of reminds me of the same thing, is that doesn't she realize how New York moved far to the right in this election? So I don't know.
This is her identity, though. This is the problem. When the politics is personal, you can't break them apart.
Wise words.
I've been telling you that for so long.
That boy Greg, be on, man.